मरण मोहन जू की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रसत स्मर शिल भक्तिवेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज शिल गुरुदेव की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रसत स्मर शिल भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रसत स्मर शिल भक्तिवेदांत साई महाराज शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रसत स्मर शिल भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रसत स्मर शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत शिल गोक्षर बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट शिल सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम शिल जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूप गौड़ीय गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल पतिदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंद ऋषि गौर प्रसाद वृंद की जय। नाम अचय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट विदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज यमुना गंगा तुलसी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। भक्ति विघ्न विनाशंकरी श्री नृसिंह भगवान की जय। भक्त प्रवर श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। श्री कार्तिक व्रत की जय। ऊर्ज व्रत की जय। ऊर्जेश्वरी श्री विश्वभानुनंदिनी श्रीमती राधा ठाकुरानी की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद्-भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिषे नमः। कुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः। Once again. Okay. Yam pravrajantam anupetamapetakrītyam dvaipāyano virahakatara ājuhāva putreti tanmayataya taravobhinedus tang sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudīrayet Śrīmvatam svakata Krishna punya śravana kirtana Vedantasto yabhadrani vedunati suritsatam Nashta prayeshvabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina Iti vigyaya radhetam nayamam charanantikam Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshai Kshiptashtakama ditaranga Kripa maitam sharanam prapanna vrinde namaste charanāravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol, everybody. Let's see who's there. Radhe Radhe, Raseshwari Mataji, and Rup Manjari Didi. Haribol. Did my announcement go on the thing? Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, so today I'm a bit late because I just woke up actually. I was sick yesterday. And anyways, I'm feeling better this morning. Actually, last night I was feeling better. But yeah, 15 minutes late. So I'm not going to do a good recap or anything like that. I'm just going to, okay, I'll just read this part here. So we, in the beginning of this chapter, we read about Prahlāda's education under Śukracārya's sons. Then Prahlāda instructs Hiranyakashipu in bhakti. Shanta and Amarka chastise Prahlāda and forcefully teach him. Then Prahlāda describes the 9 processes of bhakti to Hiranyakashipu. Tomorrow I'll go through a recap of what we read. Since it's so late, oh my god, it's 7:20. Yeah, we gotta just jump into it. So now Prahlāda is going to... This purport of Srila Prabhupada's is, I think I remember looking at it in Navadip, it was 15 pages long. So our whole reading today is just going to be one purport. One second, let me just drink some water. Okay. Oh, let me just write in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam group. Okay. śrī-prahrāda uvāca. śravaṇaṁ kīrtanaṁ viṣṇoḥ smaraṇaṁ pāda-sevanam. arcanaṁ vandanaṁ dāsyaṁ sakhyam ātma-nivedanam. Eti puṁsārpitā viṣṇoḥ bhaktiś nava-lakṣaṇā. kriyeta bhagavaty addhā manye dhītam. Prahlāda Mahārāja said to his father, no, to the teachers, right? One second, let me check again. No, to his father, okay. Shanta and Amarka chastise Prahlāda and forcefully teach him. Oh, let's just go to here. It's good if we have a little. 19. Okay, so Shanta and Amarka said, they chastised Prahlāda. They said, bring a stick. He deserves punishment. Sorry. By his... Oh God, 1 second. Okay. By his bad intelligence, he is defaming our dynasty like a cinder. He is like a thorn tree in the sandalwood forest of the demoniac dynasty. Viṣṇu is like the axe to cut that forest, and Prahlāda is like the handle of that axe. And they forcefully taught Prahlāda the paths of religion, economic development, and sense gratification. Then Shanta and Amarka thought that Prahlāda was educated in the 4 diplomatic principles. What was that? That's Sam, Dam, Danda, and Bhed and Danda of public leaders. One day after Prahlāda was nicely bathed and decorated by his mother, they presented him before his father. Then Prahlāda offered his obeisances to Hiranyakashipu, who happily embraced him and showered his blessings. Placing Prahlāda on his lap, Hiranyakashipu spoke with affection and tears in his eyes that moistened the boy. Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlāda, "My dear son, please repeat whatever you think is the best of the knowledge taught by your teacher." And then Prahlāda had two kinds of teachers: Shukracharya's sons, who taught him materialistic diplomacy, and Narad Muni, who enlightened him in spiritual knowledge when he was in his mother's womb. The teacher refers to the son of a Shukracharya from Hiranyakashipu's point of view, but it refers to Narad from Prahlāda's point of view. Thus Prahlāda replies what he learned from Narad Muni. And so then he tells this verse: śravaṇaṁ kīrtanaṁ viṣṇu, smaraṇaṁ pāda-sevanam, arcanaṁ dāsyaṁ. Right, so that's what we're reading today. Prahlāda said, "Hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Viṣṇu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him," in other words, serving him with the body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so as I mentioned before, this is going to be our full reading today, just this one purport. When Prahlāda Mahārāja was asked by his father to say something from whatever he had learned, he considered that what he had learned from his spiritual master was the best of all teachings, whereas what he had learned about diplomacy from his material teachers, Shanda and Amarka, was useless. Bhakti pareshanu bhavo virakti anyatra cha, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11:2-42. This is a symptom of pure devotional service. A pure devotee is interested only in devotional service, not in material affairs. To execute devotional service, one should always engage in hearing and chanting about Krishna, or Lord Viṣṇu. The process of temple worship is called archan. How to perform archan will be explained herein. One should have complete faith in the words of Krishna, who says that he is the great well-wishing friend of every suhrid sarvabhutanam. A devotee considers Krishna the only friend. This is called sakhyam. Puṁsārpitā viṣṇu. The word pumsa means by all living entities. There are no distinctions permitting only a man or only a Brahman to offer devotional service to the Lord. Everyone can do so. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:32, Striyo Vaishyas tata Shudras te piyanti param gatim. Although women, Vaishyas, and Shudras are considered less intelligent, they can also become devotees and return home back to Godhead. After performing sacrifices, sometimes a person engaged in fruitive activity customarily offers the results to Viṣṇu. But here it is said, bhagavaty addhā. One must directly offer everything to Viṣṇu. This is called sannyas, not merely nyas. A tridandi sannyasi carries 3 dandas, signifying kaya, mano, vakya, body, mind, and words. All of these should be offered to Viṣṇu, and then one can begin devotional service. Fruitive workers first perform some pious activities, and then formally or officially offer the results to Viṣṇu. The real devotee, however, first offers his surrender to Krishna with his body, mind, and words, and then uses his body, mind, and words for the service of Krishna as Krishna desires. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives the following explanation in his Tatya. The word Shravan refers to giving oral reception to the holy name and descriptions of the Lord's form, qualities, entourage, and pastimes, as explained in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and similar authorized scriptures. After orally receiving such messages, one should memorize these vibrations and repeat them, kīrtanaṁ. Smaraṇaṁ means trying to understand more and more about the Supreme Lord. And pāda-sevanam means engaging oneself in serving the lotus feet of the Lord according to the time and circumstances. Arcanaṁ means worshipping Lord Viṣṇu as one does in the temple. And vandanaṁ means offering respectful obeisances. Manmana bhavamar bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Bhagavad Gita 1865. Vandanam means namaskuru, offering obeisances or offering prayers. Thinking oneself to be Nitya Krishna Das, everlastingly a servant of Krishna, is called dāsyaṁ. And sakhyam means a well-wisher of Krishna. Krishna wants everyone to surrender unto him because everyone is constitutionally his servant. Therefore, as a sincere friend of Krishna, one should preach this philosophy, requesting everyone to surrender unto Krishna. Ātma-nivedanam means offering Krishna everything, including one's body, mind, intelligence, and whatever one may possess. One's sincere endeavor to perform these 9 processes of devotional service is technically called bhakti. The word addhā means directly. One should not be like the karmis who perform pious activities and then formally offer the results to Krishna. That is karma kanda. One should not aspire for the results of his pious activities, but should dedicate oneself fully and then act piously. First is dedication, yes. In other words, one should act for the satisfaction of Lord Viṣṇu, not for the satisfaction of his own senses. That is the meaning of the word addhā, directly. Anya vilashita shunyam jnana karma dhanavratam anukulena krishnano shilanam bhaktiruttamam. It's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, 19:167. No, sorry, I'm spaced out. That's Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, verse 11. I always ignore whenever it has these square brackets because that means it's not in the book, and it's very often not actually the original source. Okay. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activity or philosophical speculation. This is called pure devotional service. One should simply satisfy Krishna without being influenced by fruitive knowledge or fruitive activity. The Gopal Tapani Upanishad says that the word bhakti means engagement in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not of anyone else. This Upanishad describes that bhakti is the offering of devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To perform devotional service, one should be relieved of the bodily conception of life and aspirations to be happy through elevation to the higher planetary systems. In other words, work performed simply for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord without any desire for material benefits is called bhakti. Bhakti is also called nishkarma, or freedom from the results of fruitive activity. Bhakti and nishkarma are on the same platform, although devotional service and fruitive activity appear almost the same. The 9 different processes enunciated by Prahlāda Mahārāja, who learned them from Narad Muni, may not all be required for the execution of devotional service. If a devotee performs only one of these 9 without deviation, he can attain the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes it is found that when one performs one of the processes, other processes are mixed with it. That is not improper for a devotee. When a devotee executes any one of the 9 processes, any of the nava-lakṣaṇā, 9 methods of bhakti, characteristics of bhakti, this is sufficient. The other 8 processes are included. Now let us discuss these 9 different processes. Śravaṇaṁ. Hearing of the holy name of the Lord, śravaṇaṁ, is the beginning of devotional service. Although any one of the 9 processes is sufficient, in chronological order, the hearing of the holy name of the Lord is the beginning. Indeed, it is essential. As enunciated by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Cheto Darpanamarjanam, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is cleansed. Sorry, one second. Let me just... Sorry, I'm just rearranging it. Okay, so Mahaprabhu said, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is cleansed of the material conception of life, which is 3 modes of material nature. When the earth is cleansed from the core of one's heart, one can realize the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Thus, by hearing the holy name of the Lord, one comes to the platform of understanding the personal form of the Lord. After realizing the Lord's form, one can realize the transcendental qualities of the Lord. And when one can understand his transcendental qualities, one can understand the Lord's associates. In this way, a devotee advances further and further toward complete understanding. They come further and further toward complete understanding of the Lord as he awakens in realization of the Lord's holy name, transcendental form, and qualities, his paraphernalia, and everything pertaining to him. Therefore, the chronological process is śravaṇaṁ, kīrtanaṁ, viṣṇu. This same process of chronological understanding holds true in chanting and remembering. When the chanting of the holy name, form, qualities, and paraphernalia is heard from the mouth of a pure devotee, his hearing and chanting are very pleasing. Srila Sanatana Goswami has forbidden us to hear the chanting of an artificial devotee or a non-devotee. Hearing from the text of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is considered the most important process of hearing. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is full of transcendental chanting of the holy name, and therefore, the chanting and hearing of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam are transcendentally full of mellows. The transcendental holy name may be heard and chanted accordingly to the attraction of the devotee. One may chant the holy name of Lord Krishna, or one may chant the holy name of Lord Ram or Nrsimhadev. Ramadi Murtishu Kala Nimena Tishtam. The Lord has innumerable forms and names, and devotees may meditate on a particular form and chant the holy name according to his attraction. The best course is to hear of the holy name, form, and so on from a pure devotee of the same standard as oneself. And when it's saying same standard as oneself, it doesn't mean the same level, but it means of the same mood, like Sajatiya. It's what Srila Rupa Goswami explains in the 64 limbs of bhakti. Sajatiya snigdasho, what is it? Oh God, I have such a bad memory. But having the same, like-minded, like wanting to serve the same form of Krishna. So, like, if somebody is... Anyways, yeah. In other words, one who is attracted to Krishna should chant and hear from other pure devotees who are also attached to Lord Krishna. The same principle applies for devotees attracted to Lord Ram, Lord Nrsimha, and other forms of the Lord. Because Krishna is the ultimate form of the Lord, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, it is best to hear about Lord Krishna's name, form, and pastimes from a realized devotee who is particularly attracted by the form of Lord Krishna. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, great devotees like Shukadeva Goswami has specifically described Lord Krishna's holy name, form, and qualities. Unless one hears about the holy name, form, and qualities of the Lord, one cannot clearly understand the other processes of devotional service. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that one chants the holy name of Krishna, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. If one is fortunate enough to hear from the mouth of realized devotees, he is very easily successful in the path of devotional service. Therefore, Hearing of holy name, form, and qualities of the Lord is essential. I just want to make sure the internet's working. It looks like it is. Okay. Dandavat pranams indeed, Mataji. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.5.11, there is this verse. Tad vag visargo janatagap viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhadyavatyapi namanyanantasya yesho kitaniyat shrinvanti gayanti grananti sadhava. Verses describing the name, form, and qualities of Anantadev, the unlimited Supreme Lord, are able to vanquish all the sinful reactions of the entire world. Therefore, even if such verses are improperly composed, devotees hear them, describe them, and accept them as bona fide and authorized. In this connection, Sridhar Swami has remarked that a pure devotee takes advantage of another pure devotee by trying to hear from him about the holy name, form, and qualities of the Lord. If there is no such opportunity, he alone chants and hears the Lord's holy name. I love that verse. Okay. Kīrtanaṁ. 2. Kīrtanaṁ. The hearing of the holy name has been described above. Now let us try to understand the chanting of the holy name, which is the second item in the consecutive order. It is recommended that such chanting be performed very loudly. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Narad Muni says that without shame, he began traveling all over the world, chanting the holy name of the Lord. Similarly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised, Trinarapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. A devotee can very peacefully chant the holy name of the Lord by behaving more humbly than the grass, being tolerant like a tree, and offering respects to everyone without expecting honor from anyone else. Such qualifications make it easier to chant the holy name of the Lord. The process of transcendental chanting can be easily performed by anyone. Even if one is physically unfit, classified lower than others, devoid of material qualifications, or not at all elevated in terms of pious activities, the chanting of the holy name is beneficial. An aristocratic birth, an advanced education, beautiful bodily features, wealth, and other similar results of pious activities are all unnecessary for advancement in spiritual life, for one can very easily advance simply by chanting the holy name. It is understood from the authoritative source of Vedic literature that especially in this age, Kali Yuga, people are generally short-living, extremely bad in their habits, and inclined to accept methods of devotional service that are not bona fide. Moreover, they are always disturbed by material conditions, and they are mostly unfortunate. Under the circumstances, the performance of other processes such as yajna, dana, tapa, and kriya, sacrifices, charity, and so on, are not at all possible. Therefore, it is recommended, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam, kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatir anyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one advances perfectly in spiritual life. This is the best process for success in life. In other ages, the chanting of the holy name is equally powerful, but especially in this age, Kali Yuga, it is most powerful. Kirtanad eva Krishnasya mukta sangha param vrjet. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one is liberated and returns home back to Godhead. Therefore, even if one is able to perform other processes of devotional service, one must adopt the chanting of the holy name as the principal method of advancing in spiritual life. Yagyai sankirtana prayer yajanti hi sumedasa. Those who are very sharp in their intelligence should adopt this process of chanting the holy names of the Lord. One should not, however, manufacture different types of chanting. One should adhere seriously to the chanting of the holy name as recommended in the scriptures. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. While chanting the holy name of the Lord, one should be careful to avoid 10 offenses. From Sanat Kumar, it is understood that even if a person is a severe offender in many ways, he is freed from offensive life if he takes shelter of the Lord's holy name. Indeed, even if a human being is no better than a two-legged animal, he will be liberated if he takes shelter of the holy name of the Lord. One should therefore be very careful not to commit offenses at the lotus feet of the Lord's holy name. The offenses are described as follows. A. To blaspheme a devotee, especially a devotee engaged in broadcasting the glories of the holy names. B. To consider the name of Lord Shiva or any other demigod to be equally or as powerful as the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and nor is anyone superior to him. C. To disobey the instructions of the spiritual master. D. To blaspheme the Vedic literatures and literatures compiled in pursuance of the Vedic literatures. E. To comment that the glories of the holy name of the Lord are exaggerated. F. To interpret the holy name in a deviant way. G. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name. H. To compare the chanting of the holy name to pious activities. I. To instruct the glories of the holy name to a person who has no understanding of the chanting of the holy name. J. Not to awaken in transcendental attachment for the chanting of the holy name, even after hearing all these scriptural injunctions. This is my main one. My biggest trouble. Sorry. There is no better way to atone for any of these offenses. It is therefore recommended that an offender at the feet of the holy name continue to chant the holy name 24 hours a day. Constant chanting of the holy name will make one free from offenses, and then he will gradually be elevated to the transcendental platform on which he can chant the pure holy name and thus become a lover of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is recommended that if one commits offenses, one continue chanting the holy name. In other words, the chanting of the holy name makes one offenseless. In the book Nama Kaumudi, it is recommended that if one is an offender at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, he should submit to that Vaishnava and be excused. Similarly, if one is an offender in chanting the holy name, he should submit to the holy name and thus be freed from his offenses. In this connection, there is the following statement, spoken by Daksha to Lord Shiva. I did not know the glories of your personality, and therefore I had committed an offense at your lotus feet in the open assembly. You are so kind, however, that you did not accept my offense. Instead, when I was falling down because of accusing you, you saved me by your merciful glance. You are most great. Kindly excuse me and be satisfied with your own exalted qualities. One should be very humble and meek to offer one's desires and chant prayers composed in glorification of the holy name, such as Ai Mukta Kular Upasya Manam and Nivrittatasher Upagiyamanad. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10.1.4. One should chant such prayers to become free from offenses at the lotus feet of the holy name. 3. Smaraṇaṁ. After one regularly performs the processes of hearing and chanting, and after the core of one's heart is cleansed, smaraṇaṁ, remembering, is recommended. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 2.1.11, Shukadeva Goswami tells King Parikshit, Etan nirvidyamananam ichatam akuto bhayam yoginam nirnitam harer namanu kīrtanaṁ. O King, for great yogis who have completely renounced all material connections, for those who desire all material enjoyment, and for those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord is recommended. According to different relationships of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are varieties of kīrtanaṁ, chanting of the holy name, and thus, according to different relationships and mellows, there are 5 kinds of remembering. These are as follows. A. Conducting research into the worship of a particular form of the Lord. B. Concentrating the mind on one subject and withdrawing the mind's activities of thinking, feeling, and willing from all other subjects. C. Concentrating upon a particular form of the Lord. This is called meditation. D. Concentrating one's mind continuously on the form of the Lord. This is called dhruvanusmriti, or perfect meditation. And E. Awakening a likening for concentration upon a particular form. This is called samadhi, or trance. Mental concentration upon particular pastimes of the Lord in particular circumstances is also called remembrance. Therefore, samadhi, trance, can be possible in 5 different ways in terms of one's relationship. Specifically, the trance of devotees on the stage of neutrality is called mental concentration. 4. Pāda-sevanam. According to one's tastes and strength, hearing, chanting, and remembrance may be followed by pāda-sevanam. One obtains the perfection of remembering when one constantly thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord. Being intensely attached to thinking of the Lord's lotus feet is called pāda-sevanam. When one is particularly adherent to the process of pāda-sevanam, this process gradually includes other processes, such as seeing the form of the Lord, touching the form of the Lord, circumambulating the form or temple of the Lord, visiting such places as Jagannath Puri, Dwarka, and Mathura to see the Lord's form, and bathing in the Ganges or Yamuna. Bathing in the Ganges and serving a pure Vaishnav are also known as tadiya upasana. This is also pāda-sevanam. The word tadiya means in relationship with the Lord. Service to the Vaishnav, Tulsi, Ganges, and Yamuna are included in pāda-sevanam. All these processes of pāda-sevanam help one advance in spiritual life very quickly. 5. Arcanaṁ. After pāda-sevanam comes the process of arcanaṁ, worship of the deity. So after pāda-sevanam comes the process of arcanaṁ, worship of the deity. If one is interested in the process of arcanaṁ, one must positively take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and learn the process from him. There are many books for archan, especially Narad Pancharatra. In this age, the Pancharatra system is particularly recommended for archan, deity worship. There are 2 systems of archan, the Bhagavat system and the Pancharatriki system. In the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, there is no recommendation of Pancharatriki worship, because in this Kali Yuga, even without deity worship, everything can be perfectly performed simply through hearing, chanting, remembering, and worship at the lotus feet of the Lord. Sri Rupa Goswami states, Shri Viṣṇu śravane parikṣirabhavad vayasaki kīrtane Prahlāda smarane tarangri bhajane Lakshmi pritu pujane akrurastvabhivandane kapipatir dase tasakirjuna ātma-nivedanam balirabhut krishnaptiresham param. Parikshit Maharaj attained salvation simply by hearing, and Shukadeva Goswami attained salvation simply by chanting. Prahlāda Mahārāja attained salvation by remembering the Lord. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, attained perfection by worshipping the Lord's lotus feet. Prithu Maharaj attained salvation by worshipping the deity of the Lord. Akrura attained salvation by offering prayers. Hanuman by rendering service. Arjuna by establishing friendship with the Lord. And Bali Maharaj by offering everything to the service of the Lord. All these great devotees served the Lord according to a particular process, but every one of them attained salvation and became eligible to return home back to Godhead. This is explained in dhītam. It is therefore recommended that initiated devotees follow the principles of Narad Pancharatra by worshipping the deity in the temple. Especially for householder devotees who are opulent in material possessions, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended. An opulent householder devotee who does not engage his hard-earned money in the service of the Lord is called a miser. One should not engage paid Brahmins to worship the deity. If one does not personally worship the deity but engages paid servants instead, he is considered lazy, and his worship of the deity is called artificial. An opulent householder can collect luxurious paraphernalia for deity worship, and consequently, for householder devotees, the worship of the deity is compulsory. In our Krishna consciousness movement, there are brahmacharis, grihastas, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis, but the deity worship in the temple should be performed especially by householders. The brahmacharis can go with the sannyasis to preach, and the vanaprasthas should prepare themselves for the next status of renounced life, sannyas. That's really interesting, huh? Srila Prabhupada says that householders should be pujaris. Grihastha devotees, however, are generally engaged in material activities, and therefore, if they do not take to deity worship, their falling down is positively assured. Deity worship means following the rules and regulations precisely. That will keep one steady in devotional service. Generally, householders have children, and then Haribo. Haribo, come in. Yeah. You can come in. Oh, I didn't even realize the door is locked because this latch wasn't locked. Huh?
What do you want?
Oh, nighttime? No,
The same thing.
is that easy? Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, where was I? Deity worship means following the rules and regulations precisely. That will keep one steady in devotional service. Generally, householders have children, and then the wives of the householders should be engaged in caring for the children, just as women acting as teachers care for the children in a nursery school. Grihastha devotees must adopt the archan vidi, or deity worship, according to the suitable arrangements and directions given by the spiritual master. Regarding those unable to take to the deity worship in the temple, there is the following statement in the Agni Puran. Any householder devotee circumstantially unable to worship the deity must at least see the deity worship, and in this way he may achieve success also. Okay, darshan of deity worship. The special purpose of deity worship is to keep oneself always pure and clean. Grihastha devotees should be actual examples of cleanliness. Deity worship should be continued along with hearing and chanting. Therefore, every mantra is preceded by the word nama. In all the mantras, there are specific potencies, of which the Grihastha devotees must take advantage. There are many mantras preceded by the word nama, but if one chants the holy name of the Lord, he receives the result of chanting nama many times. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can reach the platform of love of Godhead. One might ask, then what is the necessity of being initiated? The answer is that even though the chanting of the holy name is sufficient to enable one to progress in spiritual life to the standard of love of Godhead, one is nonetheless susceptible to contamination because of possessing a material body. Consequently, special stress is given to the archan vidi. One should therefore regularly take advantage of both the Bhagavat process and the Pancharatriki process. Deity worship has two divisions, namely pure and mixed with fruitive activities. For one who is steady, deity worship is compulsory. Observing the various types of festivals such as Sri Janmashtami, Ram Navami, and Nrsimha Chaturdashi is also included in the process of deity worship. In other words, it is compulsory for householder devotees to observe these festivals. Now let us discuss the offenses in deity worship. The following are offenses. A. To enter the temple with shoes or being carried on a palanquin. B. To not observe the prescribed festivals. C. To avoid offering obeisances in front of the deity. D. To offer prayers in an unclean state, not having washed one's hands after eating. E. To offer obeisances with one hand. I've done that sometimes. Oh God. Just because I was holding something and I didn't know what to do with it. Anyways. F. To circumambulate directly in front of the deity. Does that mean like circumambulate Tulsi in front of the deity or something? G. To spread one's legs before the deity. H. To sit before the deity while holding one's ankles with one's hands. I. To lie down before the deity. J. To eat before the deity. K. To speak lies before the deity. L. To address someone loudly before the deity. M. To talk nonsense before the deity. N. To cry before the deity. That means, that obviously doesn't mean crying about something devotional, but to cry about, like I just lost all my money, like that kind of thing. O. To argue before the deity. P. To chastise someone before the deity. Q. To show someone favor before the deity. R. To use harsh words before the deity. S. To wear a woolen blanket before the deity. T. To blessing someone before the deity. U. To worship someone else before the deity, unless it's Sri Guru. V. To use, like a bona fide Mahabhagavat Guru, then that's okay. V. To use vulgar language before the deity. W. To pass air before the deity. X. To avoid very opulent worship of the deity even though one is able to perform it. Y. To eat something not offered to the deity. Z. To avoid offering fresh fruits to the deity according to the season. Double A. To offer food to the deity which has already been used or from which has first been given to others. In other words, food should not be distributed to anyone else until it's been offered to the deity. Double B. To sit with one's back toward the deity. Double C. To offer one's obeisances to someone else in front of the deity, unless it's Mahabhagavat Sri Guru. Double D. Not to chant proper prayers when offering obeisances to the spiritual master. Double E. To praise oneself before the deity. And double F. To blaspheme the demigods. In the worship of the deity, these 32 offenses should be avoided. In the Varaha Puran, the following offenses are mentioned. A. To eat in the houses of a rich man. B. To enter the deity room in the dark. C. To worship the deity without following the regulative principles. D. To enter the temple without vibrating any sounds. E. To collect food that has been seen by a dog. F. To break silence while offering worship to the deity. G. To go to the toilet during the time of worshiping the deity. H. To offer incense without offering flowers. That's an interesting one. I. To worship the deity with forbidden flowers. J. To begin worship without having washed one's teeth. K. To begin worship after sex. L. To touch a lamp, dead body, or a woman during her menstrual period. Or to put on red or bluish clothing, unwashed clothing, the clothing of others, or soiled clothing. Other offenses are to worship the deity after seeing a dead body, to pass air before the deity, we already said that one, to show anger before the deity, and worship the deity just after returning from a crematorium. After eating, one should not worship the deity until one has digested his food. Nor should one touch the deity or engage in any deity worship after eating safflower oil or hing. That's very specific. These are also offenses. In other places, the following offenses are listed. Oh my God, there's more. A. To be against the scriptural injunctions of the Vedic literature or to disrespect within one's heart the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam while externally falsely accepting its principles. B. To introduce differing shastras. C. To chew pan and betel before the deity. D. To keep flowers for worship on the leaf of a castor oil plant. E. To worship the deity in the afternoon. F. To sit on the altar or sit in the floor to worship the deity without a seat. Okay, you shouldn't sit directly on the floor. You should have a mat or something to sit on. G. To touch the deity with the left hand while bathing the deity. This is important for Giriraj worship also. Like if you're painting your Giriraj or decorating him or something, then you should put a cloth in your hands, on your left hand, and then put Giriraj on top of the cloth on your left hand. Tirtha is really strict about that. H. To worship the deity with stale or used flour. I. To spit while worshipping the deity. J. To advertise one's glory while worshipping the deity. K. To apply tilak to one's forehead in a curved way. Guess you better put on straight tilak. L. To enter the temple without having washed one's feet. Sometimes my tilak is curved just because my... Anyways, whatever. M. To offer the deity food cooked by an uninitiated person. N. To worship the deity and offer bhog to the deity within the vision of an uninitiated person or a non-Vaishnava. To offer worship to the deity without worshipping Vaikuntha deities like Ganesh. What? That's an interesting one. I do not get that one. We're not supposed to worship deities like Ganesh. Anyways, I have a big question mark with that one. P. To worship the deity while perspiring. Q. To refuse flowers offered to the deity. R. To take a vow or oath in the holy name of the Lord. If one commits any of the above offenses, one must read at least one chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That's cool. I like that. There's a very specific process of atonement. Read a chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is confirmed in the Skanda Puran Avantikanda. Similarly, there is another injunction stating that one who reads the 1,000 names of Viṣṇu can be released from all offenses. And the same Skanda Purana, Revakanda, it is said that one who recites prayers to Tulsi or sows a Tulsi seed is also freed from all offenses. Similarly, one who worships the Shaligram Shila can also be relieved of offenses. And the Brahmanda Puran is said that one who worships Lord Viṣṇu, oh my god, it's 8:05. One who worships Lord Viṣṇu, whose 4 hands bear a conch shell, disc, lotus flower, and club, can be relieved from the above offenses. In the Adi Varaha Puran, it is said that a worshipper who has committed offenses may fast for a day at the holy place known as Shokarava, and then bathe in the Ganges. I'm just going to finish this deity worship part and then we can stop. In the process of worshipping the deity, it is sometimes enjoined that one worship the deity within the mind. In the Padma Puran Uttarakhanda, it is said, all persons can generally worship within the mind. The Gautamiya Tantra states, for a sannyasi who has no home, worship of the deity within the mind is recommended. In the Narad Pancharatra, it is said by Lord Narayan that worship of the deity within the mind is called Manasa Puja. One can be free from the 4 miseries by this method. Sometimes worship from the mind can be independently executed. According to the instruction of Avihotra Muni, one of the Nava-yogendras, as mentioned in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, he said, one may worship the deity by chanting all the mantras. 8 kinds of deities are mentioned in the Shastra, and the mental deity is one of them. In this regard, the following description is given in the Brahma Vivaita Purana. In the city of Pratishthanapura, long ago, there resided a Brahman who was poverty-stricken, but innocent and not dissatisfied. One day he heard a discourse in an assembly of Brahmins concerning how to worship the deity in the temple. In that meeting, he also heard that the deity may be worshipped within the mind. After this incident, the Brahman, having bathed in the Godavari river, began mentally worshipping the deity. He would wash the temple within his mind, and then, in his imagination, he would bring water from all the sacred rivers in golden and silver water pots. He collected all kinds of valuable paraphernalia for worship, and he worshipped the deity very gorgeously, beginning from bathing the deity and ending with offering arti. Thus he felt great happiness. After many years had passed in this way, one day within his mind, he cooked nice sweet rice with ghee to worship the deity. He placed the sweet rice on a golden dish and offered it to Lord Krishna, but he felt that the sweet rice was very hot, and therefore he touched it with his finger. Remember, this is all within his mind. He immediately felt that his finger had been burned by the hot sweet rice, and thus he began to lament. While the Brahman was in pain, Lord Viṣṇu and Vaikuntha began smiling, and the goddess of fortune inquired from the Lord why he was smiling. Lord Viṣṇu then ordered his associates to bring the Brahman to Vaikuntha. Thus the Brahman attains the liberation of samipya, the facility of living near the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oh wait, that was very long on arcana. My God, that was the longest section, I think. Okay, I'm going to end here, but I'm just checking out how long is the rest. Oh, it's actually not that long. Okay, could you just answer me really quickly? Since we're almost done, should I just finish this purport? Or should we continue it tomorrow? Would you mind reading for like another 5 minutes? Just looking at the comments. Okay, I'm going to read one more and then I'll look back because I don't see any comments yet. 6. Vandanam. Although prayers are part of deity worship, they may be considered separately like other items, such as hearing and chanting, and therefore, separate statements are given herewith. The Lord has unlimited transcendental qualities and opulences, and one who feels influenced by the Lord's qualities in various activities offers prayers to the Lord. In this way, he becomes successful. In this connection, the following are some of the offenses to be avoided. A. To offer obeisances on one hand. B. To offer obeisances with one's body covered. C. To show one's back to the deity. D. To offer obeisances on the left side of the deity. E. To offer obeisances very near to the deity. I guess like on the altar, you don't offer obeisances. You offer the obeisances outside of the altar. Just needed some more offenses in case that was enough in under our trend. Okay, 7. Oh, let me look at the comments. Okay, fine. Okay, I'll finish. 7. Dāsyaṁ. There is the following statement in regard to assisting the Lord as a servant. After many, many thousands of births, when one comes to understand that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, one can deliver others from this universe. If one simply continues to think that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, even without performing any other process of devotional service, he can attain full success. For simply by this feeling, one can perform all 9 processes of devotional service. 8. Sakhyam. In regard to worshipping the Lord as a friend, the Augusta Samhita states that a devotee engaged in performing devotional service by śravaṇaṁ and kīrtanaṁ sometimes wants to see the Lord personally, and for this purpose, he resides in the temple. Elsewhere there is this statement, O my Lord, Supreme Personality and Eternal Friend, although you are full of bliss and knowledge, you have become the friend of the residents of Vrindavan. How fortunate are these devotees! In this statement, the word friend is specifically used to indicate intense love. Friendship, therefore, is better than servitude. In the stage above Dasyaras, the devotee accepts the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a friend. This is not at all astonishing, for when a devotee is pure in heart, the opulence of his worship of the deity diminishes as spontaneous love for the personality of Godhead is manifested. In this regard, Sridhar Swami mentions Sridham Vipra, who expressed to himself his feelings of obligation, thinking, life after life, may I be connected with Krishna in this friendly attitude. Finally, the last. We're at the last paragraph. 9. Ātma-nivedanam. The word ātma-nivedanam refers to the stage at which one who has no motive other than to serve the Lord surrenders everything to the Lord and performs his activities only to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a devotee is like a cow that is cared for by its master. When cared for by its master, a cow is not an anxiety over its maintenance. Such a cow is always devoted to its master, and it never acts independently, but only for the master's benefit. Some devotees, therefore, consider dedication of the body to the Lord to be ātma-nivedanam, and as stated in the book known as Bhakti Vivek, sometimes dedication of the soul to the Lord is called ātma-nivedanam. Okay, so some people consider it dedication of the body, some consider it dedication of the soul. Ātma-nivedanam. The best examples of ātma-nivedanam are found in Bali Maharaj and Ambarish Maharaj. Ātma-nivedanam is also sometimes found in the behavior of Rukmini Devi at Dwarka. All right. That was, I think, a 15-page purport. 13 minutes overtime. My God, sorry for going so long overtime. Yes, that is true. Every temple, there's signs that says you're not allowed to wear a shirt inside the temple. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. This was done by Neela, this picture for a card set. Anyways, Neelambari from Australia, my god sister. Jai Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shmad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev ki jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shmad Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai, Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shar Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Rishi Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai, Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradati Giri Raj Maharaj ki jai, Radha Kun Shama Kun Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Nishingu Bhagavan ki jai, Bhakta Pravar Shri Prahlāda Mahārāja ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Kartik Vrat ki jai, Vrat Palankari Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Kartiki Shrimati Radhika ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Nama Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams. I'm not turning my camera on today because I'm feeling sick and I don't want to show my face. But actually no, I'm feeling better from feeling. I was sick yesterday. I'm recovering now, but I think my sickness is over actually. But yeah, I just woke up late. All right. Thank you for joining me. Even though I went so much overtime, I'll try to be more on time tomorrow. All right. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Hari Bol.